Alright, today's video we have basically what biggest blunder Bungie's ever made. Pretty flippin' crazy they blundered so hard, but we're gonna talk about it since we got this interesting news report. We'll see what it says. The vibes have never been worse. New report details Bungie morale is in free fall after marathon art theft claims. I don't really know why Bungie's morale would be very low from this. I understand like the higher ups would be annoyed, and I understand like the people that built Marathon would be a little upset about, but I don't know if the morale would really be in a free fall. I feel like it's a bit of clickbait, but we'll see, we'll see. A new report reveals Bungie's morale is in free fall following negative Marathon Alpha feedback. Well, yeah, because it was like every other looter shooter, whereas Bungie promised us uniqueness and something like none of the other ones had, and we got none of that. So I never got to play the alpha, unfortunately. Really wanted to, but from what we saw of it, from other people playing it, it's like every other looter shooter, if not lesser. Because some of the other looter shooters are pretty more active, like pretty more crazy moments. There was way more PvE than there was PvP fighting, and the PvE side was just dumb easy. So yeah, don't blame them. Following negative marathon alpha feedback and art theft controversy. Woo! Which staff saying the vibes have never been worse. Interesting. Bungie's upcoming extraction shooter marathon has hit a rough patch, and it's not just the fans feeling uneasy. The studio is now facing some of its lowest morale ever. According to a new report, it all started with the reveal of Marathon Closed Alpha, which drew mostly mixed and negative reactions from the community instead of excitement. Players voiced concerns about the game's direction, flat exterior art, and overall feel. But things not only got worse when an artist named Anti-Real accused Bungie of stealing her 2017 digital artwork for use in Marathon. The claims quickly gained traction online, leading to heated discussions across social media. Bungie publicly responded by blaming a single ex-artist for the unauthorized art, promising to fix the situation. On top of that, Marathon's franchise art director Joseph Cross issued a direct personal apology during yesterday's Playma live stream, admitting there's absolutely no excuse for this oversight. Honestly, I gotta say before we continue this, the biggest fail this company has ever done is not stealing one piece of art, it's stealing a lot of art at once. This has to be the biggest failure in any company's history because there's a lot of processing before they make it into a digital form. From getting the pictures, finding out if there's anyone it's coming from, because usually, companies will take resource material from other places and then modify it or change it in a way where it's not copyrighted, but they just blatantly took it. So my assumption is either one of two things. Either the person that originally got it was going to use it as reference art to make their own art, but then they got fired and they didn't categorize it into that file system. So whenever whoever took over just saw it and assumed it was art they were working on, and they left it because they're like, hey, it looks pretty good, why do anything? At least that's the assumption you would make. But then it turns out a lot of these employees that work here are actually following this person. And they blatantly left the trademark that this person left in it. They left it there. They didn't remove it. So not only did they steal it, they had a trademark that stated it was someone else's, and they left it in still. That's going to be the biggest what the fuck are you doing I've ever seen in my life. Because how do you fuck that up? Not only are you following the person, which people argue it's because it's really old, the pictures are really old and stuff, so how is Bungie supposed to know, they'd forgotten by now. Okay, I can agree with that, except for the fact she has the same trademark for a long time. Since back then, is still using the same trademark. Anyone that followed her and seen her artwork would have seen the trademark she uses and instantly seen, wait, that same thing is on our stuff. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why is that there? I don't know if it's exactly called trademark, maybe a watermark or whatever, but whatever it's called, it was there. It was plain day. All of her stuff has it. How do you fuck that up if you're following her? And by the way, several of them have responded for her stuff. I don't know if this is going to talk about, but from other reports, several people have responded to her stuff in the past and have done stuff and have followed her for a long time and viewed her stuff, liked her stuff. Several of them have done it, which means they are very much aware of what her watermark looks like. How in the fuck did that get anywhere near final form? That should have been nowhere near that. So Bungie's just lazy in that state. My assumption is this is what really happened. I still, like I said, I assumed that what's what happened, but then it turns out there's a lot going on. It turns out it's complete bullshit what I assumed. Now what I assume happened is it's official. The higher ups in Bungie's lazy, and they got free content they thought, and they figured nobody would notice. That's my best fucking guess. Is they just hope nobody would notice, because it makes no fucking sense. It really doesn't. This isn't a third-party company like it's been in the past. This is an actual Bungie mistake on them. And this mistake isn't small. This is a huge mistake. Because third-party companies, the companies that do art and stuff for other games and stuff, it actually makes sense why sometimes stuff sneaks through. Because they do take art from all over the place. From art that anyone can use to art that's private or art that's, special or protected or something, and they take references from it and take ideals from it, because that's what you do. From a story to pictures to movies, everything comes from a reference in one form or another. That's just how it works. So it makes sense sometimes things sneak through, and sometimes there might be someone doing it on purpose just to be an ass. You never know, right? That's how the world works. But this is from Bungie. They're not, from Marathon itself, they're not running 1,000 different games at once or helping even 5 other games make art. They are literally doing one single art project for one single game. There is no fucking way this went through. It's such an obvious thing, went through all the ranks and nobody noticed. It's just impossible. So my assumption is the higher-ups told them, no, just run with what we got. We got free art. Nobody will notice. That's my best guess, because it's the only logical thing that makes sense at this point. Is that if it's not the higher-ups, it means all these employees that went through the art before it even became a digital file of art used in the game or in the ARG. They legitimately said, oh, this is someone else's. Let's keep it anyways. And this is multiple hands that would have had it gone through, which means multiple of them would have said that. So my guess is the higher-ups just told them to run with it, and they didn't have a choice because the higher-ups told them they had to. I assume that's what it's got to be, because that means otherwise every single employee that its hands between the hands that touched that documents and those pictures and those files were like, oh no, this is fine. It's definitely someone else's, but it's fine. And if that's true, then that is horrible for any game company. And that's why they're getting a lot of backlash, because that's the reality of it. Either the higher-ups told them, you have to use it, and they're like, well, we don't want to use it, someone else. They're like, you either use it or you're fired. They're going to use it because they don't want to get fired. And it doesn't backlash really on them that much. It doesn't, obviously it still does, but it's not that big of a deal. Because the higher-ups, well, if it's a good company, will take the blame. If it's a bad company, they won't. Bungie's a bad company, so they'll probably not take the blame. Higher-ups never take the blame for their bullshit, unfortunately. But, yeah, so very problematic system here. It either means everyone's hand the documents went through said, oh, this is someone else's, let's keep it anyways, or the higher-ups told them you have to use this because it's free and it's cheaper this way. That's my only assumption. I don't know what really happened. We probably will never know perfectly what will really happen, but we'll see. But Bungie already has a pretty strict system. Most companies do for gaming. We assume Bungie does too. We don't know perfectly what it is, but we know it passed through a lot of hands before it gets qualified to be used in-game and then actually digitally made. And even once it's digitally made and presented, it still goes through a lot of hands that are supposed to be monitoring and figuring out if any of the art's used or stolen. That's why once in a while it happens. It's not that big of a deal. But this is huge. This wasn't one or two pieces of art. This was a lot of the fucking art was stolen. So it's a big deal. It really is a big deal. Anyways, we're going to continue reading. I'm sorry for ranting. I'm just saying there's a lot of issues in this statement. Bungie morale and freefall, according to new report. Now new details have come to light thanks to a report from 4B's Paul Tassi. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Paul Tassi sometimes has the tendency to exaggerate a bit. He's not a bad guy. He's not a bad reporter, but there were things he said in the past which turned out to be exaggerated a bit. Because he uses more dramatic words sometimes than people take it. It might not be his intention for it to be taken that way, but people take it more a certain way. I'm not saying this ain't accurate. I'm just saying this has happened in the past with his stuff. I don't think he's actually intentionally trying to make it more dramatic. I just think he's trying to use a very specific type of word set, and people make it out to be more dramatic, and that's why shit has gone south before. Which he has in the past said that's not what I was meaning. So it's not like he's not he does do diligence. So I'm not sure if that's a scenario here yet. I'll wait to see if he says something saying, yeah, that's not what I meant exactly. So we'll see. I'm just saying, things have happened before. It's because the way he uses some words, people take it out of context or they make it more dramatic. Obviously, it's not his fault, technically. It's not at all, actually. It's a beholder's fault. It's the person that reads it and takes it the wrong way or takes it more dramatically. So, but as I say, sometimes fancy words or certain types of words can be taken multiple different ways, which can cause chaos. So, hopefully that's not the scenario. Again, he said in the past when that's happened, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. So this ain't trying to hate on him. I'm just saying I'm gonna stop and like point that out. This has happened before, so I'm not sure if that's a scenario now or if it's actually true. So we'll see. After speaking of current and former Bungie employees, obviously if we keep reading, it might answer the question. I'm just making that point. Tassie paints a pretty grim picture of what's going on behind the scenes. According to a report, I keep saying morals. Morale at Bungie is in free fall across all departments, with some staff saying the vibes have never been worse. The uncertainty over Marathon's future combined with the ongoing plagiarism. Wow, my English is worse. Let's go. I'm sick. That's my excuse. Audit and negative alpha reception has left many worried about what's next for the studio. Tassie's report also mentions that there haven't been any official talks about delaying Marathon's planned September release, at least not publicly or in the front of the wider dev team. Still, sources say it's possible those conversations are happening privately between Sony and Bungie's top leadership. 100%, these have to be happening, because now they have to go through every single bit of the game file, figure out exactly what was stolen from the artist, and pull it out, and find something else to replace it. There is no reality where this isn't delayed, because if this isn't delayed, this is going to be worse than it already was. Marathon's already in a bad place. If they still release it on time after everything that's happened from that live stream they did, they talk about stuff they want to do, this and that. They're acting like this was an alpha, and they're years away from the game, not months away. From what they talked about in the live stream, I watched it. I watched most of it. There was parts of it I missed because I was doing other things, but overall I've watched most of it. From what they were saying and things they wanted to do, it sounds like to me Marathon is in an early alpha design state, not an early alpha, hey, we're ready to play, we just want to make sure y'all like it state. This sounds like it's in a very early access state and a design state, which is bad because it's not supposed to be at this point. But it definitely appears to be that seems to be the case. So now this has happened, so I don't doubt it. I'm dead serious, if they release Marathon, I still want to play it, even though it was a shit show. I still want to play it personally, just because I do like the type of games and I want to play and just to feel how it feels to give my feedback, obviously. But yeah, as a whole, if they don't delay Marathon, Marathon will fail and completely crumple in on itself. And I'm promising you, all these people that have pre-ordered Destiny 2's new season, new DLC or whatever, including me, because I want one single gun, we're going to be disappointed. I pretty much guarantee it. From what we saw, the little bit, the tiniest bit we saw was nothing. And in my opinion, it's going to fail. And I hate that, but that's the truth to it. I'm pretty sure it's going to fail. So, unfortunate, but that's how it works. So, Bungie for you. It's going to be a lot of negative feedback on that too. Because it appears Bungie's higher-ups no longer care about any of the games. All they care about is making money, but they don't understand you have to make a good product to make money. So, without a doubt, Marathon will be delayed. There's just no way around it. If they don't delay it, then Marathon will 100% fail, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. You won't be able to revive it at that point. But if they actually delay it, maybe Marathon will come out a decent product. Maybe. Give it another year, give it another 6 months, you never know. But at what's currently going on, plus the current feedback, if they don't delay it, it will not be successful. Nobody's going to buy it at all. Practically no one. Maybe a few people, but it won't make money at all. It will not make money, so it's bad. There's always a few people that buy a game no matter what, so you got to account for them. But there are not enough people to make money off a game, so yeah. We'll continue reading. On the business side, last year the Game Post reported that Marathon expected to launch at a $40 price point, not as a free-to-play title, despite early speculation that still appears to be the plan. What do you think about the state of Marathon and Bungie's response so far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Yeah, especially if it's a $40 game, from what we got from the early access and the stuff they talked about the stream, what they want to do, it's not a $40 game. It's not even a free-to-play game at the moment. It's a bad game. I still want to play just because I want to play it, but unfortunately it's bad. It's not going to succeed. And Destiny's their only moneymaker, and I'm telling you now, it's about to fail unless they come out with some serious changes, some seriously things they are lacking in a new saga. It's going to fail, more than likely. Because all the cool stuff that are neat changes are free changes, not paid changes, and a lot of people seem to keep forgetting that, so yeah. Unfortunately, I think Bungie's looking at a collapse, which honestly, some people have been theorizing for a while that Bungie might just literally collapse on purpose on themselves and fuse into other game companies that work for Sony which they've already somewhat started to do. So that might be just the end goal at this point. Somebody else will come in and take over Destiny. That might literally be what happens, or Destiny will just straight up stop being existing. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is, but from the mistakes they keep making, and the higher ups have to be the ones to sign off on this stuff, and they're signing off on literal trash and now literally thievery, tells me they either just really don't care anymore and they're done milking the system, or something else is going on. I don't know. So there's a lot of confusion going on right now, and it's really confusing. So, unfortunately, Bungie has definitely fucked their game up with this. This is not a small theft. It's not like one or two pieces of art. This was a lot of art. This was a lot of main systems. This hurt severely the game, the community, everyone, and then obviously the person also made the art and stuff. This is a failure because there was no excuse for this. There's a lot of hands it has to move between before it's accepted, and the fact all of them accepted it is the bad part. So, I don't know what's going on. We don't fully know what's going on in the background. Bungie will never be truthful with us fully. We know that. We've seen them cover their ass plenty of times. But in this case, there's not much they can cover, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, enjoy the video. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment what you think. If you think Bungie will magically pull it out of their ass and survive, let me know. If you think they're going to crash and burn too, let me know as well. Thanks for watching. Adios. We out.